It's beautiful out here at this park. I should get out and go sit over there. Good morning, good morning, good morning. It's been a while since I've been live. Listen, y'all, I've been busy. I've been really taking care of trying to take care of some things, and I try to keep my energy and my spirit. I try to keep my spirit in a certain place. So, but I'm gonna start back doing my videos. I'm gonna start back pre-recording my videos and uploading them to YouTube, because I kind of gotten away from recording then uploading. But good morning, come on in. I have a message for you all. I have a message, and I just got through running some errands, and I received this download. So I pulled over to the park. I said, let me go live and just share this message with, good morning, Melissa, with the chosen ones. Let me go share this message with the responsible ones, the ones that want to take accountability and responsibility for their lives, The topic I have here is called my pimping season, right? This is the season for you to be a pimp. I know for me, this is my pimping season. And the acronym it stands for peace is my priority, right? In this season, I just need for my spirit to be at peace. Even before this season came, I was just working on just getting in a place of peace, right? Because so many of us, we've grown up in dysfunction, and we think dysfunction is normal, right? A lot of us don't know how to operate outside of dysfunction. And that's what I want to come talk to you all about. A lot of the things that we experience in our families, a lot of the systems and the unspoken behaviors that we experience in our families, it's not normal, but it's so normal to us because we didn't see anything outside of the dysfunction that we were brought up in or that we experience. And that's why so many people are experiencing trauma, and they're experiencing their feelings being hurt and things like that. But there are those chosen ones that are challenging the system, the family dynamics, who's speaking up against it, who's rebelling against the family dynamics of dysfunction and silence, right? So this acronym that I came up, peace is my priority. I just came up with this yesterday, and I went through a period of my life where, I was just so confused. I didn't want to really become who I know God was calling me to become, because I knew in my spirit, I already knew in my spirit, people would be upset at me because they're going to think that I think I'm better than them because God is calling me in a different direction. There was a season where I struggled with my identity. I struggled with being who God was calling me to be because I was afraid of people. I was obedient to God because I wanted to please men. I was afraid of the faces of men. And when I say men, I mean mankind. That's man and woman. I was afraid. But in this season, I hope for you that this season, not the season fall or that we're in, or winter, or whatever the season in where you are, not the actual season. I mean the season in your life. The exact season in your life. I hope this become your pimping season, where peace is your priority, where you are not going along to get along, where you are taking care of yourself, you are taking care of your mental health, you are speaking up for yourself, you are setting boundaries for yourself. That's what I mean. You're trying to understand yourself. You're getting to know yourself. That's what I mean. And it's not in a selfish way, because see, when you grow up in these toxic family dynamics, you know, and when you grow up in these family toxic dynamics, if you dare to speak up against something that everybody see, but they don't have the balls, they don't have the confidence and the boldness to speak up against it. And it's not like you're speaking up against it like, oh, I know you're not doing this or that. No, you're speaking up against it in love. You're speaking up against it in concern, in care for that person or those people or your family. It's not like you're saying, you know, I don't do this. It's not like you're putting yourself on this pedestal of self-righteousness. You're just trying to speak and say, you know what? We shouldn't be doing that. You shouldn't do that. That's going to lead you down destruction. Or, you know, you got these family systems, and this is something I hate because I saw it in my family for years, especially on my mom's side. I saw it in my family for years. We would be silent about things that we should verbalize, we should speak up against. We'll be silent about the things that we should be vocal about, but we'll be vocal about the things we shouldn't even be worried about. It's these little silent systems. We'll be silent. We can see people doing something wrong and won't even say anything about it. But a person that's trying to do something right, you will make them feel bad for trying to do what's right. And that's dysfunction. That's dysfunction. And I don't want to be a part of it. And see, for so long, I'm just being transparent, for so long, you know, we be quiet about things. But what I've learned and what God taught me, what the Holy Spirit taught me, even in my own children, not to be silent about things, because when you're silent about it, you're continuing and you're perpetuating the dysfunction. And see, a lot of things I was so afraid to speak up about because I knew I would be villainized. I knew I would be ostracized. I knew people would stop talking to me. And it's not that I spoke up against things out of thinking that I'm so high and mighty, and see, people say that. People will say that to keep you silent. But when God put that fire in you, and when he forces you to speak up, you got to speak up. You got to speak up. And he did teach me how to say things in love. He did teach me how to confront and speak up against things in love and concern for people. Because we'll sit down, and this is what we got to unlearn. This is dysfunctional, and this is not love. You will sit down and you will watch people do things that are destructive to their life, and you will not say anything. You will not call them out on it, which I mean, when I say call out, you're just bringing it to their attention. It's not like you're going in, oh, I know you're not, you shouldn't do. No. What I'm talking about is you go to that person like, niece, nephew, what you're doing. And see, God also has, let me finish this thought. So what I'm saying is, you go to person, niece, nephew, what you're doing, that doesn't look good. That's not going to get you to where you're trying to be. Having that type of attitude, being this type of way, that's not going to get you to where you want to be. And see, the reason I go in isolation when dealing with certain family members, because let me tell you why I go in isolation. I go in isolation and I stop dealing with certain people, and I don't want to be around certain family members or people, because the people who they say they love. See, this is dysfunctional. Instead of talking to the person who you got a problem with, or who they have a problem with, they'll come and talk to me, or they'll go to somebody else and try to talk about that person in a negative way, instead of addressing that person. See, I'm the type, if we got an issue, let's talk to else. Don't assume anything about me, or don't come up with your own ideas or situation or how you think the issue is. Come talk to me about it. Let's talk it out, because it's probably a misunderstanding. But what people will do is, and I've seen it, and I can't stand this, because I don't know how to be fake. I don't know how to tell somebody I love them out of my mouth and then turn around with the same lips, the same mouth, and go talk bad about that person. I don't know how to do that, or talk about how bad somebody is doing or how nasty somebody is doing. I don't know how to do that. I would rather talk to you and tell you the issue I have with you. This is why I isolate myself from around certain family members, because when I go around them, I see they talk about other family members, and I know they're going to do me that way. And I know they are doing me that way. Instead of coming talking to me, like, I don't want to be in that cycle anymore. I don't want to be in that cycle. I don't want to be a part of that, because that is draining. It's draining to be fake. It's draining to be phony. It's draining to be around people who I know don't like me, who I know talked about me, who I know have said some of the, perpetuated some of the lies. It's hard to be around people because my spirit could pick up on that. My spirit could pick up on it. My spirit could hear what people are saying about me. My spirit could feel when people don't like me. My spirit can feel when people are haters and jealous. My spirit can feel, and it tells me things. And I'm not saying this because I'm trying to be all holier than thou. There are people out there in the world that know that God has given them a high gift of discernment. I didn't just get this way. I've been this way since a child. I've been this way. That's why it's so hard for me to be around certain people. I can tell when the person is genuine with me. I can tell when family like me. I can tell when they don't like. I can tell when they don't slander me. I can't be around that anymore. I'm in the season where my spirit is so sensitive. It almost can drive me crazy if I don't understand where I'm at. It almost drive me crazy. And I have to be sensitive to that. Exactly, Jacqueline. And I don't have time for that. I've experienced that for years. And I don't hate people, because, see, when you're in dysfunctional families and, you go through this cycle of up and down, in and out, 1 minute they like you, 1 minute they don't, or, they pretending, they try to see. One thing about when you part of a dysfunctional family, right? When you're part of dysfunction, families, friendship, any dysfunction, there are highs and lows. And the highs and lows come from because people don't know how to conversate and communicate. They don't know how to have conversation. They don't know how to talk things out. They live off assumptions. And people will swear they be right. They swear because I've done it. I'm not being hypocritical. See, one thing about me, I'm a truth teller. And I'm hated for that. I've done it. But I had to learn I can't live off assumptions. I can't live off assumptions. I have to ask people, what do you mean by this? Why do you, I feel that, like I have to go to people and say, I feel this way. And give them a chance to say what you're feeling is wrong. Half of the times you be knowing certain things that's true too, but sometimes when you confront people, they'll deny it because they didn't think that you had the confidence and the boldness to confront them, or they didn't think that you knew. They didn't think that you knew how they felt about you or the things that they've said about you. I'm not in the season of brushing things over. I'm in the season where let's talk about this stuff. Let's put everything on the table. Because it probably was a bunch of misunderstanding, and probably was a bunch of jealousy that people got to deal with within themselves. And we don't want to talk about that. We don't want to talk about how certain family members could be jealous of you because they feel like you think you better because you just want a different life. You just trying to do better. You just trying to raise your children better. You just want something different in life. They don't want to talk about the limits that they placed on you because they thought you wasn't going to be anything, and that just because your mama was a drug addict, your daddy was a drug addict, they thought you was going to become a drug addict. I'm talking about myself right now. Because your mama was a drug addict, your daddy was a drug addict, and you don't beat them odds, they mad. They mad because God is with you. They mad because you are chosen. They mad because what they said about you has not come to pass. Oh, that's what they mad about. They mad because you did better than them, and they had their mom and daddy. They had everything. This is why at a young age, let me tell you something I learned at a young age. I was just telling my daughter's friend, mom, this the other day in Publix. This is why at a young age, that's why I learned not to put my mouth on people. I learned to not put my mouth on people's children to say what they're going to do and what they're not going to do. Because you don't know what that child's going to grow up to be. You only can see where they are right now. Because you think you know so much. You think you are God. And you want to put your mouth on them children. You want to curse them. Even with the worst of the worst child that I've experienced, that I've come across, I would never speak ill in death over that child to say what they're not going to be. Because I know God is a miracle working God. He did it in my life, and I know he can do it for someone else. I would never put my mouth on nobody's children and think my children are better, because I've seen it. You can have a mom and daddy. I saw it growing up. You can have your mom and dad there, and them children turn out worse than the ones how I did. How I didn't have my mom there. The kids that had their mom there, they sprung out on drugs or doing something. Not saying that's good, and I'm not saying that's a good thing, but you just don't know how a person will turn out. You don't know what trajectory, you don't know what path God will put somebody on to change a person's life. This is why I never did that. I don't care what see, people think because you want better for your children, they think that you're putting your children up on a pedestal above someone else's child. That's not true. You just want better. And parents, don't be shamed because you want better for your children. You want to move your children from a different area. Don't be ashamed of that. Long as you know you're doing the best to raise your children up where they won't have an excuse to say you didn't do this, you didn't do that. Because see, I'm a person, even with the cards I was dealt, I'm the type of person that believe I am my rescue. I believe that. I believe that there is no excuses. There is no amount of blame that I can put on my mom and daddy for the decisions that I've made. I don't believe in that. My thinking is to the point to where if I want to change anything, if I want to change the hand that I was dealt, that means I got to do something within me. I got to do the work within me. This is why it's hard for me to talk to people that always want to come up with excuses for stuff. In my head, I don't see things how normal people would see things. Because I believe if you want to do better, you will do better. If you want to. But if you want to be a victim, you will be a victim. But I believe that we have to start addressing the issues that are deep rooted in families, this deep rooted jealousy, this deep rooted dysfunction, this deep rooted silence on things that matters, and speaking up against things that don't matter. We got to break. This is a curse. We got to break this generation a curse of dysfunction. Teaming up on other family members. You know, just because a person don't like this one, everybody will team up on them. Team up on them and make them look like they're the villain. Because they don't want to put up with dysfunction and foolishness. And they don't want to be around foolishness. They want to create a narrative that you think you are better than the rest of the family because you're trying to do something different. You're just trying to break the generational curse that you see running up and down the bloodline. Oh, and it take a person to have some boldness to do that. If you talking about you're chosen, you're not chosen if you haven't been betrayed. If your own family hasn't talked about you, if your own family haven't lied on you, I don't think you chosen. You ain't chosen. You're not chosen. You're not chosen. If you haven't gone through the betrayal from your own blood. Everybody talking about they chosen. This is like a thing now on YouTube. Chosen ones, chosen this. No, you're not chosen. If you haven't been fighting from out the womb, you ain't chosen. If you haven't been fighting from since you were born, that means all your life you've been up against stuff. All your life, from adoptions to people abandoning you, to feel like you don't fit in, to you being bullied, mistreated, to and see, let me tell y'all something. People don't believe this, but you gonna hear me today, and you gonna know that you can have grown adult women, men, just adults, period. Oh, you gonna hear me today. I'm gonna show you something. I'm gonna learn you something. Like the old folks used to say. You remember the old folks used to say this? I'm from the South. And I remember the old folks say, if you listen, I'll learn you something. Which they were saying, if you listen, I could teach you something. This is how you know you're chosen from the womb. You're chosen from out of the the womb. And see, this is why abortions are not just a sin. This is why you shouldn't do it. I'm going to tell you. You can do what you want to do with your body, but this is why you shouldn't do it. Because you don't know who you are aborting. You don't know if you are aborting the next president. You don't know if you are aborting the next surgeon, the next person to cure cancer. You don't know, but you can do what you want. But let me tell you, this is how you know when you come out the womb, you are chosen. You remember when Jesus was born? You remember when Jesus was born in the Bible, whether you believe in it or not, whether you believe it's fable or not. I'm just telling you. You remember when he was born and you had people knew his star. They saw his star. They saw that he was born. You had the so-called wise men, or who that was. You had the so-called folks of that time. They knew. They saw that light. They saw it from far away. So you don't think when you born and that light is on you, you a child and you wondering why your own mama hates you. You wondering why your siblings hate you. You wondering why your grandma hates you. You wondering why your family hates you. Oh, they can see that light. Oh, they can see your star. Oh, they see it. They may not know what it is. They see that on you. That's why they called you ugly. That's why they mistreated you. Was nice to all of the other nieces and nephews, but when it came to you, they don't like you. All of the other grandchildren, they love on them, they support them, but they don't like you. All of the other students, they give them stuff, but they leave you out. That's the enemy trying to use them to make you feel like you're not chosen. You've been chosen. That's why you don't fit in. Just like them, just like who that was. Yeah, what the king name was. Who saw when Jesus was born, saw Jesus' star and tried to pretend that he wanted to worship Jesus, but was trying to destroy him. Some of y'all got people like that in y'all family, or people y'all know. Oh, they can see that light on you. They'll pretend to love you. You got people that'll tell you they love you out of their mouth, and behind your back, they trying to destroy you. They destroying your character, turning your children against you, using your children against you. Your mama and them. Doing everything they can to destroy you. You got to understand why. You got to understand why. People can see that. People can see that. And don't think because you've had such a hard time growing up, you've had such a terrible childhood, or you've been abused. Don't think because you went through all of that, you're not chosen. Oh, that's the reason you're chosen. That's an indication that you're chosen, because the enemy's trying to break you and he still can't break you. He couldn't break you with your family. So guess what he gonna do? He gonna send you a husband that's trying to break you. He couldn't break you with him. So guess what he gonna do? He gonna use your children to try to break you. That ain't work. So guess what? He gonna try to use the system to try to break you. But God is still with you. God is still strengthening you. You still here. You still fighting. You still going. Oh, it's ranks to this. You best believe it's ranks to it. If the family can't kill you, he gonna send a husband, wife. If your wife or husband can't kill you, he gonna jump in them children. If they can't kill you, then he gonna try to go to your career. Then the career can't kill you, he gonna try to hit you in your health. Then your health can't kill you, he gonna keep coming. Oh, he gonna keep coming, but you keep fighting. The more he come, the stronger you get. The more he come, the stronger you get. The more spiritual you get. The more connected to God you get. That's for somebody. Probably for me, because I just teared up on that. I just got emotional on that one thing. Enemy trying to take you out and you just getting stronger. You like the Energizer battery. I say that all the time. You just keep going and going and going. Want to break you down. But the more he try to break you down, the more you build your spirit up. The more you get connected to God. The more you fight. That's why it says all things work together for the good to those who believe, and so God can get glory. People gonna know there's an indication God on your life by what you done been through and what you done overcame, and you still can smile. You still can love. You still can bless people. You still can forgive. You still can pray for folks. And don't get it twisted now. See, this is another thing we got to stop doing. As chosen ones, in order to keep your peace, you got to learn when is your season to separate from people. When is your season to be separated from people? You got to let people go through their own transformation. You can't be there to save people. When folks don't want to be at peace with you, you don't have to be around them. You don't have to hate them. See, people think this is another thing that's dysfunctional in families. And I'm going to say this because I've experienced it. People think because you address an issue or because you don't want to subject yourself to people's negative behavior, they feel like you hate that person. They feel like you don't love that person. They feel like you don't have love in your heart for them because you don't want to be around that negative energy. You don't want to be around their manipulation. You don't want to be around their deceit. You don't want to be around their fake and phoniness. You don't want to be around that. And they think that you don't love them. You can love a person from a distance. Love and trust are two different things. You can love people you don't even trust. I love people that I don't trust. I love people that I know I can't call if I need help, if I need financial help, if I need them to come through for me. I know this. I love people I know I can't depend on. I could depend on some strangers more than I could depend on the people I love. People think because you don't want to deal with them in their dysfunction, they think you hate them. No, it's called pimping. This is my pimping season. Pimping season. I'm a pimp in this season. Peace is my priority. That's what it is. I need my peace. And see, a lot of us can't connect and heal spiritually because we are around people, the same people that are disturbing our peace. We can't even focus on healing. We can't focus on dealing with what's going on in us because we're so caught up. We're so caught up in the dysfunction of the people we feel like we have to be around because we love them. Oh, when I tell you, when God did spiritual surgery on me, that was the hardest thing ever. The hardest thing ever was when God did spiritual surgery on me, where I had to face the truth. I had to face my truth. I didn't want to face my truth. I wanted to run from it because, see, I was a runner. I was a runner from the truth. I was a denial. I was in denial. I would run from the truth instead of face the truth head on. But God put me in spiritual ICU. He had to cut me open. He had to cut open my heart and resuscitate me because I was spiritually dying because I was running from the truth. I didn't want to believe people that loved me was out to kill me, was out to harm me spiritually. I didn't want to believe people who I said I loved didn't love me. I didn't want to believe that a person could come home every day, come to me every day and say they love me, all while behind my back slandering my name. I didn't want to believe that. Who want to believe that? want to believe that the people who you would die for won't even die for you? Who want to believe this stuff? See, when the truth is revealed, now you know how to forgive. Now you know how to move accordingly. You know how to move accordingly. No, everybody's not going to understand it. Everybody's not going to understand it. And that's what you got to be delivered from. You got to be delivered from trying to get everybody to understand you. You know you coming from a genuine place. You know your heart is pure. You know you are pure. You know you don't have evil intentions. You don't have an evil heart. You know this. Because one thing about the pure at heart is always blessed. God always come through for the pure at heart. He always come through for the peacemaker. He always come through for the truth teller. He always come through for the forgiver. Oh, yes, he do. I tell y'all some of the things that I've been through, some of the situations that God yanked me out of, some of the times he's come through me financially when I didn't know how I was going, how I even was going to get out of it. He came through because the heart is pure. See, one thing about a pure-hearted person, the favor of God will always be on their life. The favor of God will always be on the pure at heart's life. Excuse me. Okay? You will be favored wherever you go. But that favor will also bring jealousy. And you have to know why. See, before God woke me up to who I was, I didn't understand how people could mistreat me when I'm nothing but good to them. When I'm just trying to encourage them, motivate them. I've always been a motivator. That's just me. I've motivated people when I was borderline being about to be evicted. I was being there for people when I was behind on my rent. My finances was in shambles. And I'm trying to encourage somebody. I should have been taking that and putting on myself. But see, that's just to show you, and that's what God showed me. That's just to show you your heart. You got pure intentions, right? You got pure intentions, but everyone don't have the heart and intentions you have. I had to learn that. I had to learn that the favor in your pure heart will also attract wickedness and people who don't have the heart like you have. I had to get some spiritual muscles. I had to get some spiritual kahunas, if you know what I mean, to keep it PG here. I had to grow some spiritual, you know what? That's what I had to grow. I had to grow some spiritual, you know what? And God had to make me not to be so passive. I used to be so passive and passive and patient, long suffering. Let people do anything to me. And maybe they don't know what they're doing. Well, maybe they don't understand. I'll make excuse for people in a minute. Oh, but now, like my friend, I got a friend, and I love this girl because she's real, genuine. She's the type of friend that I wish I had early in life. Because instead of being in your feelings about things. And I'm crying only because